We're going to look at solving proportions. Again, key thing about solving proportions is that you need to use cross multiplying and you have to have one complete fraction. That's where you have the numerator and the denominator for one entire fraction. So you have a number in the top and a number in the bottom for one fraction to make it complete. So when you're cross multiplying, you take the numerator or the top number on one side of the equal sign, and that multiplies to the denominator on the other side of the equal sign. And you do that for both sides of the equation. Okay, and then once you're done with that, then you use division to solve for the unknown variable. So again, this method is only possible if you have one proportion that is complete. Okay, so you have one proportion that is complete on both sides. So let's take a look at our first example here. Our first example, we've got x over 15 is equal to 10 divided by 36. Both of these are fractions. They're equal to each other. They are proportional. One of these fractions is complete. We have this 10 over 36 is a complete fraction. We know both the top value and the bottom value of the fraction. The top value is the numerator, the bottom number is the denominator, and we know them both. And because we know both of them, we can actually do some cross multiplying. So when we're cross multiplying, we multiply the 15 and the 10, and we multiply the x and the 36. So we're cross multiplying these two numbers. So 15 times 10 is equal to 36 times x. Okay, and so again, now what we can do is we can simplify this a little more. We know what 15 times 10 is. It's going to be equal to, 150, not 250. It will equal 150. So 150 is equal to 36x. Okay. Now we need to get that x value all by itself. So right now that x value is being multiplied by 36. So anytime you have a coefficient or a number in front of a variable, that means multiplication. So the opposite operation of multiplication is division. So we're actually going to divide the right-hand side of this equation by 36. And if we do that to the right-hand side of the equation, we must also do that to the left-hand side of the equation. So we're going to divide both the right and the left-hand side of the equation by 36. So we're going to be left with x is equal to 150 divided by 36, which is going to give us approximately 4.2. We'll round that. Okay, so that's how you do proportion where you just have a single proportion, two fractions that are equal to each other. Let's take a look at an example that we have here on the right-hand side. On the right-hand side, we actually have three fractions that are equal to each other. This might look very similar to you because you probably did this when you did a proportionality statement doing similar triangles. So in this case, again, the key here is that we actually do have one fraction that is completely equal, or that is complete, and it's equal to the other two. So we know that we have this key. We have 7 over 22. We have the top value of the fraction and the bottom value. So that key will allow us to unlock or to solve the other two fractions where we don't know. So because they're all equal, you can actually write this as two separate questions. You can write this as x over 15 is equal to 7 over 22. And you can also write 7 over 22 is equal to y over 8. Okay, so these two things are both true at the same time. Okay, because they're all equal, we can split this into two different equations. Okay, so in order to solve, again, we're going to use cross multiplying. So we're going to multiply the top value on one side with the bottom value on the other. And we're going to do that both ways. We can do it at the same time for each. Okay. And so if we go through and we've cross multiplied correctly, we're going to end up with 22x is going to equal 7 times 15. In this example here on the left-hand side, or more in the middle. And on the other side, we're going to end up with 7 times 8 is equal to 22y. Okay. So again, we need to get the variable terms all by themselves. So in both cases, the variable terms are being multiplied by another number. And so now what we need to do is actually divide both sides by 22 in this case. So 22 times x, the opposite of multiplying x by 22, is dividing both sides by 22. Okay. So we're going to divide both sides by 22. And then I'm going to go through and I'm going to quickly simplify what I can here. So I'm just going to have x is equal to, see, 7 times 15 is 105 over 22. And I'm going to have 56 over 22 is equal to y. Okay. So 105 divided by 22, where I get x is equal to 4 decimal, I'll call that 8, and y is going to be equal to 56 divided by 22, happens to be 2 decimal 5 approximately. Okay. So again, when you're solving for a proportion, you have to use cross multiplying, and then you divide out the thing that the variable is being multiplied by.